Hello, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the Deep Tech Innovation Alley. My name is Parag. I'm a Deep Tech consultant with Network Science, and I'll be moderating the next session. Continuing with our theme for today, which is sustainability, a topic which is very close to network science. We have a very interesting topic coming up for this session, and it's named Your Company's Green Fitbit. Now, most of us have used a Fitbit or we've seen it in action. A Fitbit is used to monitor a body's vitals, to measure your heart rate, and it helps you track your goals and analyze what could be done to achieve it in a better way. Now, imagine a solution or a platform that could help your organization achieve your net zero goals or your ESG goals via this platform. That would be great, right? On that note, I would like to introduce my speakers for today. I have Syed Bakar Andrabi joining in, who is the Director for Business Development. And joining him would also be Satvik Rai, both joining us from Updapt, a ESG technology company that manages your end-to-end sustainability journey with a simplified process. And it also helps you analyze ESG data in a single platform. Hello, Sayed. Hello, Satvik.
Thank you so much, Parag, for that introduction. It's nice to be on the Deep Tech Innovation Rally.
Thank you so much. So, Sayed, while we did present a slide about yourself, would be great if we could hear your journey and proceed from there.
So my journey in sustainability has started right from organizing, events and conferences and webinars and seminars with regards to ESG and sustainability. Because what we wanted to do and what I wanted to do is that I wanted to make people aware about how they can transform in their sustainability journey. Because nowadays, what we see is that many companies and many organizations are a little bit hesitant with respect to their ESG and sustainability journey, keeping in view the complexities and other things which they might believe that there are, but that's where Updapt came in. So I've been a part of Updapt for some time now, and
That's great.
I believe that it can be we can make the sustainability journey of organizations in a very easy and complex, not in a complex way as many industries or any many organizations believe.
Great. That's great to know. And we are proud to partner with Updapt. Satvik, hi, welcome.
Thank you, Parag, for this opportunity. It's really glad to be a part of this discussion today. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, Sayed, the floor is yours. Please proceed.
So as Parag is introduced already, myself, I'll still, for the audiences, good evening, everyone. My name is Syed Vakar Andrabi, and I had the business at Updapt, an ESC tech company for Middle East and across GCC. I'm based out of Dubai, United Arab Emirates. So before I jump into what Updapt is all about, recently I was reading an article where, as per the statistics, at present, 29 plus countries and territories maintain some degree of mandatory ESG disclosures and regulations. With mandatory ESG reporting becoming a necessary measure, company needs to familiarize themselves with the latest ESG criteria and obligations. The simplest solution is to dedicate staff and resources to checking the ESG requirements and recommended frameworks in any country where a company wishes to conduct business. However, this can be complicated, costly, and error-ridden process. So that's where Updapt comes in. So what is Updapt? Updapt is an ESG technology company, 4.5 years old now, founded by industry veterans and now funded by Accenture Ventures as well. Essentially, we have built a SaaS solution to simplify the data lifecycle, reporting, and monitoring process of medium to large companies across the globe. With an 80 plus member team and growing, we have mentors on our board like Eric Solem, who's an ex-Norwegian Minister of Environment and has served the United Nations as well. Alongside him, we have Mr. Shailesh Hari Bhakti, who's a well-known industrialist and board chairman and director in various and known global and listed companies. As I said earlier, we are funded by CIE Accenture Ventures. So here are some of the competitive advantage in terms of how my solutions helps ESG process and march the businesses to financial growth. So essentially, it's a comprehensive solution with multiple modules so that we become a one-stop solution, which is pretty cost-effective and 18x faster and a huge ROI for the clients and a pretty robust and agile tech architecture. in terms of configuration and deployment for different business environment sizes and locations. And we have a proven success stories with reputed clients and partners. So these are some of our clients, about 65 to 70 clients with revenue ranging from $100 million to $15 billion across various sectors such as pharma, healthcare, manufacturing, service, power, tech companies, FMCG, listed and unlisted companies across multiple geographies, with clients in India, UAE, UK, US, and many other parts of the world as well. So if we talk about where does my solution fit in? So this is the typical sustainability journey that any organization goes through, and during this journey is where a firm faces challenges. And that's what we have built here is a set of various modules which you can see on your bottom to simplify this journey itself. Well, first we would like to understand, where they are in terms of their sustainability performances, analyzing gaps vis-a-vis some of the widely used standards, performing carbon footprint accounting and assessments at a supplier level, portfolio level, and similarly for the investors and lenders. And then obviously different reports and dashboards for the stakeholders of any organizations, as previous in the previous session, Madhun was mentioning about the interest of many stakeholders towards the sustainability reports of any company. So we have various modules, as you can see on the screen. On the top left, we have the flagship product of data management and reporting solution. A firm can track each and every data point across their plants, sites, and various office locations, perform their carbon footprint accounting digitally with no need of any consultant, and generate various reports as per global standards. And then we have the supply chain assessment module as well, and I won't touch base them because we will be having the technical demo itself. So we have supply chain assessment, and we have this Updapt Net Zero module as well, Updapt PE private equity for the PE community, and then we have Updapt Enterprise Risk Management, and we have the Updapt Lenders module. So essentially, we are a product company where the largest strategy is to constantly sharpen all of existing solutions and build new solutions for the market. So anyways, as I said, we're going to run a demo for the flagship product for around 10 to 15 minutes. My colleague Satvik is there to give a presentation of how it can really simplify your sustainability journey. So in terms of security, our platform follows the highest security standards and compliance for the data protection of our clients. So that's all from my end. Thank you very much, and feel free to reach out to me over LinkedIn or through our website and network as well. They are our partners to know more about us. Over to you,
Sayed,
sir.
thank you for that. Just before we get Satvik on the stage, just one question. I saw your client list. Just want to understand what challenges do you face when you have clients coming in from different verticals or domains? Is it the same for you when you try to manage their data, or is it difficult?
I think it's a function of two things. One thing is in terms of the client's enthusiasm in terms of adopting to these newer practices. Another thing is also in terms of the maturity, in terms of understanding new parameters of how to go about these. What are the kind of challenges in terms of collaborating with multiple teams? Because when ESG, we're talking about three different verticals and multiple themes within it. So that continues to be a challenge, and also the fragmented way in which the frameworks have been divided. They have so many frameworks dictating the same things in different manner. So harmonizing it also happens to be a challenge, as well as lack of awareness. But I'm glad to know that of late, of the last 2 years, we've seen tremendous improvements. People are building capacities. There are new people coming in. There are no new roles getting designed, and there's a lot more of a lot of exercises that are happening out in the community as well to improve the awareness on these topics. So that's a very positive change that we're seeing, and we hope to see that transpire to further levels in days to come.
Sure. Thank you so much, Satvik, for that. Please.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, as Syed demonstrated how we have a platform that hosts an array of modules and functions, what you're seeing right now is the platform that has multiple functions that basically address different pain points at various stages of an organization's sustainability journey. What we see on the top left is the monitoring and reporting section, which is the flagship product that's used by over 60 plus of our customers. We have a self-assessment module that helps our customers who are just starting off the ESG journey and would want to understand and get a holistic qualitative assessment of where their current ESG landscape is. You have a supplier assessment module that primarily helps you create customized questionnaires and also calculate or rather track the performance of your supply chain when it comes to ESG parameters. A net zero module that primarily helps you to measure, reduce, offset, as well as strategize your short to long term strategies, as well as bring in the SBTI element when it comes to tracking your short to long term emission targets, as well as the enterprise risk management, which seamlessly digitizes the entire risk management cycle of an organization. I'll be spending more of the time describing the monitoring and section. Just before that, I'll maybe walk you through the self assessment tool. The way we have created the assessment module is we have the three categories of E, S, and G, and we have an array of where you have more of the qualitative questions being asked in a yes or no format. And once you're provided a response, which could be in the form of either an existence of a strategy, existence of a target, existence of a performance result, or any kind of result that you put out in the domain, we then generate a lot of insights in terms of a gap report that provides you deep insights on what are the indicators that are expected to be followed by a company and what are the actual indicators that you've been able to accomplish. A transparency score is being made available, critical measures would be identified, as well as an action plan that can possibly be materialized would also be available. Similar to the gap report, you also have something called an ESG standard mapping report, where we try to address the challenge of harmonizing parameters of framework requests from different sustainability bodies and give you an oversight of the level of coverage that you've been able to address. We also have a few other reports regarding the SDG as well as the strategy report. The monitoring and reporting section, which I mentioned, happens to be the flagship product that most of our customers use. So we start off the entire module by the configurations, where the user has the option to add in various location level data. They have the option to define their data structures. They can create their own groups based on the locations that you've created. It provides them the flexibility to create groups of groups. It provides them to the flexibility to track data either at a facility level, at a group level, at a consolidated level, a regional level. So different kinds of data inputs would be made available for the management users in terms of analyzing information. You have the option to define different kinds of calorific values, emission factors, units of measurement, thereby ensuring that the carbon footprint accounting for scope 1, 2, and 3 gets taken care of in the most meticulous as well as accurate way possible. The solution provides the option to configure a whole bunch of ESG parameters. And the way we have created the solution is we understand of how the changes are happening in the system. We understand what are the kinds of newer frameworks that's been introduced, what are the newer fields that has been requested. In that sense, we have tried to create a very dynamic form-based system that ensures that all kinds of nuances can get accommodated. We have also cracked the scope 3 calculation issue, which a lot of companies actually face, where you have the option to determine the method in which you want to track your data. It could be a spend-based method, it could be a distance-based method, an average data method. So we have a four-staged approach where we basically create a form, we add the fields, we set up the units, and we set the emission factors. So in this sense, we also work closely with the customers to ensure that we understand the business cases and we then configure using the interface and then be able to track data in a very simplistic manner. You also have features where you can create your own customized KPIs. You have the option to define your social related parameters. You have the option to, in fact, even set up the notification. So by virtue of our experience of working with a large base of customers, we have accommodated most of the business cases that companies generally face as they track various kinds of complex ESG data. Coming to the tracking section, the solution, as I mentioned, has three primary sources through which the data entry can be facilitated. The first source being a manual entry source, where you basically enter the data by giving access to users. The second source being an Excel update source. So if you have a completely decentralized system of data entry, you can use an Excel upload and just have the data to go. The third source being an API source, which is a very critical source, considering how already a lot of data has been captured in the legacy systems. We build the APIs and we are able to fetch the data. So we make sure that the customers have a wide range of options in terms of facilitating data entry for different kinds of parameters. You have the entry for a particular parameter could be as simple as just entering the consumption number. You get analytics around what is the value that's been consumed for a given month, what's the upper limit that you've reached. You have an option to add a note, upload an attachment, and the moment you tap on save, you see the value get converted into energy and emissions. You have the options where you can monitor the target on a monthly basis. Annual trends would be made available with the option to copy this to a clipboard. Detailed audit logs would be made available where you can see the data that's been edited, updated, deleted, so that a very visible audit trail is being made available to the users. Ultimately, apart from energy, we have a vast range of parameters which could include your water, waste, ODS, your biodiversity, human resource development activities, as well as health and safety parameters. So, with over 300 plus parameters to track, it becomes really comprehensive in that sense for organizations to track, report, as well as monitor the data on a regular basis. Coming to the dashboards, we have the option where you can slice and dice through the data for the various groups, locations, functions. You have the option to download this into a PPT or a PDF. Very interactive dashboards being made available in that sense. You can export this into a table, watch this in an Excel. So insights around your top energy consuming sites, your top energy emission contributing sites, parameters around your EGH emission source, your water related insights, the consumption, withdrawal, discharge data, your hazardous, non hazardous data, a whole bunch of social parameters around employee hire and employee turnover related information, the employees receiving skill upgradation training, the diversity data would also be available. Similarly, we also have a vast range of reports, which include the BRSR report that's been mandated for the 1,000 listed entities in India. We also have something called an ESG standard performance report, where we reference the data coming from various frameworks into one consolidated view, just better to ensure that the submissions that needs to be done for various disclosure reporting areas, be it GRI, SDG, IFC, CDP, gets all addressed using a single solution. So this is something which we have created indigenously by creating a taxonomy that cuts across the various frameworks. And of course, we have reports like the peer analysis where we provide a benchmark in terms of identifying of how your performance compares to that of your various peers. So yes, I think that's my time. I was able to kind of address different kind of areas. So yeah, I'll be happy to take up any questions as such, if at all there are any.
Sure, Satvik. Thank you so much. We have a few questions coming in, and the first one that I want to take is this one. Can you provide examples of specific sustainability initiatives or actions taken by your clients based on the insights that have been gained from the analytics? I would love to
Yeah.
listen to a use case or an example.
Yeah. So generally, what we have noticed is that for one of leading, say, hospital chain who use our product, what they do is they primarily calculate the intensity-based matrix. So they generally have insights around. They get insights around what is the emission intensity per bed occupied, or say emission intensity per unit of goods that has been produced. So with that insight, what they have done is they have analyzed over 60 to 70 locations of theirs, and they were able to find out which are the regions or which are the specific sites or the kind of assets that they have. Because when I'm saying assets, we don't just restrict ourselves to say a facility. It could include your corporate offices, your storage, your data centers, or whatsoever from wherever the data is coming. So through these insights, they've been able to understand what are all the problem areas, what are the bottlenecks, and how should I possibly strategize my resource or my energy mix for a specific area. And based on that, they've been able to actually take up some initiatives so that over the next 2 to 3 years, they're able to make a more seamless and a practical transition from where they are to where they want to be. So that is one thing which comes right off my mind as the question. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so moving on, we have the next one. This is a very straightforward question. Do you have vertical specific catalogs?
So when you say vertical specific catalogs, you refer to organization level data or facility level data. Can you be
I'm
more
assuming
elaborate?
verticals is manufacturing, then you spoke about healthcare being one. So is it specific to verticals that you have compliances to follow?
Absolutely. So, for example, there are certain sustainability standards like the SASB, which is more of an industry-based standards. So, in our organization, I mean, by far we are, I would say, industry agnostic. However, we have worked with a diverse range of customers, which include leading cement manufacturing companies, power generation companies, pharmaceuticals, to even rather say service-oriented companies or software-based companies. So, based on that, there are definitely some nuances which get altered to a certain extent. By far, about 70 to 80% of it remains standard. However, the method that they in which they calculate or rather the matrices that they measure can vary, and we do have those level of flavor as well where we can address those specific things.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Here's another interesting question. How do you ensure the accuracy and reliability of the data collected from the platform? Are there
Yeah.
any independent verification processes that can validate this metrics that is reported through the platform?
Yeah, so there are 2 to 3 measures that we have implemented. One thing is that by virtue of the data entry, we have an inbuilt make or checker mechanism that ensures that once you enter the data, it goes through a review through some validator who track this data or who has an option to reject data if they find some anomalies. The second thing is the moment the values go beyond a stipulated range, they get a warning saying that this is beyond the range, which has been calculated by the average of the values for the past period. So that again gives another indicator of okay, there could be a value which has gone wrong. Over and above that, you have an option to upload an attachment so that the person approving it has something to review before he sends the data for approval. And also, we ensure that we have a sufficient and a very visible audit trail. So each and every entry that happens in the system gets logged in, and you have a very detailed way of being able to track it. And they also have the option to provide access to auditors. So if at all you want to go for an independent audit and you want to give the access to an auditor from any of the organizations, you can do that, who can then provide their comments as well and provide their insights in terms of how the data has been managed. So yeah, multiple checks and balances have been put in place to ensure that the accuracy or rather the confidence on the system is enhanced and the confidence on the data rather is enhanced and gives that comfort to the users.
Got it. Got it. Moving on, does Updapt product does carbon footprint accounting automatically, and is it accepted globally?
Absolutely. So our tool calculates your scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions in a very detailed, meticulous manner, ensuring that different kinds of business cases gets handled. And we have built it in line with the global principles as well as the frameworks. We are in line with the GHG accounting protocol as well as the GRI reporting principles. So in fact, a lot of international listed as well as unlisted companies have used our platform to report this data and get that verified by independent agencies of good repute.
Got it. Okay, so the next question is a little generic. This is something I wanted to ask as well. So, how is the mandate from the government of each country differing from each other? Can you shed some light on how India is progressing, or if is it different from how UK does it, for example?
Yeah. So what we notice in this landscape of ESG is that at least from Indian perspective, the SEBI, the Security Exchange Board of India, has mandated 1,000 listed entities to report on a format called the BRSR. So which is also something which we have embedded within the tool. So from after a lot of consultations and discussions, they have created an own version of, I would say, the Indian GRI, where they have kind of localize some of the parameters and are given a format in which they expect the top 1,000 listed entities to report on. And it has already started from this year. So a lot of companies, by that virtue, would be tracking the data. And we also anticipate that in the years to come, the next tier of the companies and the next category of the companies would also be made applicable with these frameworks. But at the same time, there are a lot of global players, like, for example, GRI, which is the umbrella institute in terms of providing these indicators. You have the CDP, you have the SASB, and we also see that there's a convergence where we're creating the ISSB or the VRF Foundation, where they're trying to create a common reporting platform or a rather common reporting framework for organizations to be able to report data in a consistent manner so that it becomes easier for investors across the globe to view data in a harmonized way. So yeah, there are a lot of changes that are happening, a lot of movement happening, and we're really excited to be a part of the journey.
That's great. Okay, just a couple of questions before we wrap up, and this is something that I spoke about right at the beginning of our session. I feel that if you're monitoring your goals, it gives you an extra added incentive to achieve those goals as well, and that's what Updapt as a company is trying to achieve as well. On those lines, how do you motivate the employees of an organization using your platform to assess their ESG goals and work towards it?
I mean, that's a very interesting question, Parag, because what I would say, how I would say is that the kind of interdependencies and interlinkages that ESG brings in, it's very difficult to separate ESG from your normal operations in that sense. So every single action that happens in terms of, say, it could be from a diversity, it could be from a training perspective, it could be from a health and safety parameters. A lot of these topics have great and far-fetched consequences in the ways that business are going to operate in the days to come. So it's going to be the new normal where organizations will have to adhere to, will have to maybe start inculcating those better practices and make very maybe smaller stages until they can reach the ultimate goal. But I think we have reached a point where it's now or never, where we have to in fact adopt to a more sustainable way of moving about our organizational performances. And then the tools like ours will definitely help companies to further enhance their journey and make sure this process is as seamless as possible.
Absolutely, Satvik. Thank you so much for that. And on that note, I'll wrap up this session, and I'll encourage the audience to reach out to us if they want to achieve their ESG goals. Okay. Thank you so much, Satvik. Thank you so much for the session.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
For the audience, we have a poll coming up. Request you to please answer those. It helps us assess and let us know if you're interested in knowing more about the solutions that we offer. Thank you so much.